Hello, it's me. So it's time for another mystery assembly. I've gone through one way that I collect puzzles, buy them and unbox them. This is the other way. Buy them, stain them, dye them, and assemble them. So this is a YouTube first. This puzzle has not been seen before. Well, not exactly seen before. And this is the first time that this is going to be seen here. So can you guess what this is? I'll just kind of give you a little rundown. I know it's a little hard to get it all on screen, but can you guess what this is? We're going to start off with this. Believe it or not, all of these are going to come together to form a puzzle. Now this core took a little while to actually get done. You can see that it actually came white. I didn't want to dye it black because all these little holes make it very difficult to have it work out. As you can see, just by cleaning it, what I showed is I etched this in with magic marker. This is to show that there's water that gets trapped in there and it takes days and days for it to get out. You can see that it's cleaned off the magic marker right off the side. If I put dye in here, it would take probably a lot of days to get all the dye out of the holes. And if I don't, and I assemble the core with that, it tends to leak out and stain the stickers. So, hope you forgive that little issue there, but we'll go ahead and assemble this and see what it turns into. Okay, so, bear in mind, you're never going to see the core, so that's why I didn't really take it too seriously, so I hope that's not too intrusive. But in any case, we're going to use these screws over here that you can get from Cube4U, but just in case, sometimes they don't go all the way through, so I always have another set here. These are M3 screws. You can see this one is about 20 millimeters, or you can do 15, but I think 20 serves just fine. So, start off with the core and have you figure it out. I will point out that this is what one of the cores look like. And it has a cap, which means that this particular core goes right down to the center and is what's revealed to the outside. That kind of gives you a hint with the layers. But I also will point out you've got a core that looks like this. So there seems to be maybe some unevenness to it. In any case, I'll start off with my Cube4U, if I can figure out how to put it in my hands. In this particular puzzle, you can see that it fits quite neatly in there. Okay, so I'm going to pick an arbitrary side here and just screw it in. And I'm going to see how deep I can screw this in. If you find that your Shapeways puzzle with these Cube4U doesn't screw in quite as deep as you would think, then you can get others. Now I cannot wait until this core is buried because it just doesn't fit in with everything else. Okay, so what's going to go on top of this, obviously, is going to be one of these guys here. We don't have to put this in yet, but we can. And you can see that fits on nicely here. Now we're going to use pieces at the side. Now the nature of this puzzle is it's a pretty intricate one. So the next piece is going to be, I believe, this over here. And this comes down here quite nicely. Okay, as you can see, so I'm just going to put this in here, put this in here, put this here. So these pieces that I'm putting in, just in case you're going to need it to know it for future reference, is going to be these winged pieces. And this here. So what is it? Got to figure it out yet? I don't think so. Okay, so far so good. Now the next is we're going to have to put corner pieces, and these corner pieces are going to be these guys over here. Now I've never seen pieces like this before. See how it has sort of like a double edge over here? That's going to lend it to the stability that the earlier versions didn't have. So I'm going to just plop it in like this. Well, like this, so that you can see it's sloping down like that. And now I've got 4 other pieces that are much like this that are going to do similar sloping. Like so. I don't suppose that 10 years ago, this kind of a thing that I'm doing would have been possible. To be assembling pieces that were manufactured on a computer, or so I think assembling, printed off on a 3-dimensional printer, and then assembled. It's pretty pretty amazing time that we're living in. Okay, so we have this here. Now is the time when I turn this upside down and rest it like so. That way, I don't keep having pieces fall out on me. Okay, so here's what we have. I know that looks ugly. Don't worry, it's going to be buried. So now the next piece. What are the next pieces that we're going to be using? Okay, the next piece to come is this piece over here. Now this is a very interesting wing piece. It's got all these little divots that are here. Now if you notice, what was made here is there's a little divot over here too, and this fits quite nicely right in here. Pretty brilliantly. So this comes across here, and I'm going to find another piece of the same nature and put it in. So that's going to be this piece over here, and I'm just going to go to the opposite side, like so. Now the next one, it's actually not going to be the same as these. It's going to be a bigger piece like this. So already you know that I have different sizes on each side. But this I believe is going to fit in like this. Kind of diving into the core here, like so. Only this time right side up. And this comes across here. So I'm just basically putting in middle pieces. Okay, so this is how we're doing right now. This is how it looks. Okay, now we're going to be doing side pieces here. So the next one that's going to come off to the side of the small one will be, we'll say this guy. Again, these are going to be some of the most unique looking pieces that you'll ever see in assembly. So there it is. I think you've guessed by now that this is some kind of a cuboid. And on the other side, we'll just put the complementary one as well. And place it here, okay? And now I have but to do that on the other side, abutting this over here. We will put this like so. And the other one slides nicely into here. Okay, so now we have these guys in. Now we're going to look for the corner piece on this side. Just to the side of these guys are going to be these little handsome looking pieces. Just plop that right on over here, and we'll just keep following suit on each side. And splat. Okay, getting closer, figuring it out yet? This will, whoops, come in here, and this will come in here. Okay, so looking like this. So far so good. Now we're going to hit the corners on these sides over here. And what perhaps is going to come into here. So once again, this is the slender side over here. These are the thick sides here. Now the ones that are going to come into here are these very unique, interesting side pieces. There's like a jigsaw puzzle type situation in here, so that's going to slide just into here. Do we like it? Yeah, I think we do. I think it's going to go places, so let's go ahead and put this in over here, and likewise we'll do, whoops, we'll do that on this side without destroying what we just did. I'll also tell you that this is the work of Gregoire Fenning. He is the master designer, so you know it's going to be good. Okay. Okay, so this is what we have over here. You know, sometimes with these big puzzles, these giant puzzles, the hope is that I have enough camera room to really do justice as to what we're seeing here. Okay. Now at this point I'm actually going to pause. I'm not done with the side, but I should probably start putting these centers in, and to be absolutely honest with you, probably would have been a good idea to put them in first. So what's actually going to go across these sides are... So I'm going to go across to here, and I'm actually going to start putting these guys in. And I'll try to use the same Cube for You screws that I started with, see if they work. So we'll take this here and do the same thing. Screw this into here. Kind of doing it a little out of order, probably should have done this before assembling that, but okay. So now that's in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to follow suit. Now I'm also going to put in this next one here. This one has a notch to it, and that's going to come in useful later. I'm going to put this here. Now the one with the notch, this layer here, I'll tell you, from side to side, from end to end, has 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This layer here, just across from it, where my pinky is not done yet. But it's the longer, the larger side that I'm going to put this one with a notch in it. So we will do that. Get my screw and commence to putting. Okay, that's pretty good here. Now we're going to put on the next one, which is this, and I'm just going to keep doing this all the way around. So what I'm going to do is put all of these guys in surrounding that. Okay, now we're going to continue with what still is this bottom layer here. So we're going to have to find something that goes deep into the side over here. So I think what I'm looking for is something like this. This looks like it dives pretty deep, like that. Okay, pretty good. And I'll put one on the other side. And it's going to be the small side down over here. So put this into here and just apply gentle pressure to get it in. Just like that. Okay, so this is what we're looking like. Okay, now we need to get the ones on each side of it. Which I'm going to say is this piece over here. Yep, perfectly right on that side over there. And slide it on in. There it is. And I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side while I'm in the neighborhood. This comes into here, and this comes into here. Falls in quite nicely. Now find the ones to the side which slips into here. So we're talking about corner pieces that slide pretty deep into the core here. So I think these are going to be among the largest of the pieces. So I think we're ready for these large corner pieces. And see if we can't slip them in here as they hug the core. Now, in previous tutorials I talked about pieces that calibrate the puzzle. Those pieces that calibrate the puzzle are those that actually are attached very directly to the corner. So you can see the centers that are attached to the corner will calibrate, and the corners, which go right to the core, will calibrate as well. In this case, if it's a odd layer puzzle, the centers go right to the core, which means that they can calibrate. Corners will always be the last ones in, so bang. So now we're going to get closer and closer to figuring out what this is. Bring this large piece here. If it doesn't fit, it must equit. There we go. This goes here. Whoops. And this goes somewhere not here. And fit this in right here. Okay. So we're good. We actually have what appears to be the first side. Okay. Let me see if I can't get this all on camera here. So first side, here we go. Let you look at it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is it? Well, let's keep going up the layers. Now, this was obviously an odd layer part here because the core went right to the center. These centers over here probably take centerpieces on top of this. So this must be an even layer based area. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in another layer under here, and then there's going to be centerpieces that go all along here. So at this point what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually connect all of these centers to their inner areas here. So I'm going to use these tiny pieces here. We've got this piece here and this piece here. These are the smallest pieces of the lot. And the way this is going to fit is it looks like this is going to fit over here. So one fits on top of the other. So I have a small wing piece and a large wing piece, just like this. Then I'm going to have these pieces over here, which is going to take these also, and that's going to fit just like this. Now let me further specify something here. Notice on this piece here you have one that's kind of smooth, and then you have another here with a divot. This divot is going to actually take the place of this piece, which has the divot. So on the side without the divot is going to be this piece to create the divot, and then I'm going to have this over here. These two together are going to be on this piece here, and I'm going to put this at the side that's just 5 layers deep. So this is just going to come over to here. Now this, before it attaches here, I'm going to put another one of these pieces on. And now I'm going to do the same thing on the other sides. I have this. And this is going to be exactly the same thing. The long bit over here with this small guy with the divot. This comes over here. Then on the other side that already has a little divot here, this comes across here. And we're just going to slide this in. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And then slide them into here as best you can. And slide this in here. So this is all fine over here. So now the next step is I'm going to start filling in layers here. Obviously it's not just one layer below here, there's going to be 2. So I'm going to take this little piece here, and I'm going to take this little piece here. These guys. And the way that they're going to fit together is going to be like this. Just like that. And I'm actually going to anchor them in like this. This is going to slide into here. So we'll just plop that into there. Alright, so now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to take these same 2 pieces, hook them together, and just casually slide them under here. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start building up the layers on these sides here. So we're looking for pieces that look like this now. Now you're going to find a lot of pieces looking like each other, but this has like the long end here, tiny body over here, and this fits right next to this over here, just like that. So now we find the other ones that look like this but go on the other side. Now it's not this one. Notice these are actually different pieces. They look alike, but this has a smaller body. And now this one comes in over here. So now I've got these two here. So I might as well put in the other ones. And now on the other side, same thing, put those corner pieces in. I think we're talking about this one here. And this one here. Okay. Now the next one is these guys over here, if you can see that. Kind of a long piece here, another unique one, but it actually fits lock and key right into here. Bang! So right over there. Now we do the same thing on the other side. And if it doesn't quite fit, you want this edge to be facing up, just like that. So put this right into here. Okay. Okay, now with that in, we're going to do the same thing but on the other side with this facing up. This shimmies on into here, and this sashays on into here. There we go. Okay. And what I'm looking for are these guys here. What this is going to do is this is going to come across and come in just like that. Whoops. Very nice. So now the same kind of thing. And it's going to want to be facing up. So this one isn't the correct one. So we'll find the one that is, which is this. Faces up, slides into here. So we're doing well. Go ahead and do it on the other side. This comes over here, slides oh so nicely there. And finally this guy over here slides into here. Okay, so far so good. We're done with this portion. Now I just have to fill in these guys. Now I'm going to go to the one that has the that has a little notch down over here, and let's see what actually goes on that side. Now these centers here are going to come out at you a little bit more. So it's going to be patterned after what we saw on this side, but just longer. So I think this is going to be one of them that's going to be there. Now because this is notched, one of these pieces should have a notch to go with it. So I'm going to try to find the one that does, and that's this over here. So it's kind of subtle. I don't know if you can see it, but this has a little notch in it that goes with the groove over here. So there's a groove here and a notch over here. So this is going to be obviously coming up into here, but I want to anchor it to a piece down over here, which is going to look kind of like the piece at the lower end on this layer. This guy over here, you can see that there's a nice lock and key fit just like this. So what I'm going to do is the same thing. I'm going to put this into the groove over here. Shouldn't be too difficult. Okay, that took a little bit of doing. Just put this back in here. Okay, so this is pretty much fixed to this center, if you notice, and this is going to be buried into here. Now I'm going to do the same thing on this side. This and this. These stick together like so, and then we can just kind of tease it in. Okay. Now just to the side of these are going to be these guys. So we're going to see if we can't get them in. It's going to again fit kind of like a puzzle piece. So as best you can, just kind of shimmy them in here. And again, not a lot of force is needed. What you can do is you can take the ones that you put up here and just pull it up if you need to, which should easily work, and just guide it on in there. So beautiful. Next, and again, it's going to be facing up. So this comes in next over here. Just like that. Okay, same thing on the other side. Kind of fitting them into multiple places. I think maybe this one. Okay, and that feels about right. Okay, so far so good. So next we have these guys here. This little notch is going to point down, this wider notch is going to point across, and it's going to fit in like this. I'm just lifting these up. You've seen me do this, something like this before. And let's see if we can't get this in somehow. There we go. Okay, so that fits in nicely over there. Same thing here. I have to coordinate it to where it's like this. This thin one is down, wide one is up. Lift this up. See, this is actually coming into a groove down here and coming in here and coming in here as well. So it lends this puzzle with a lot more stability than previous versions. And while I'm in the neighborhood, try it on this side too. And that fits over here. And finally, this one here. Okay, looking good. Now we're going to keep going. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place the ones that come on each side of this over here. So on either side it's going to be this guy now, which looks just the same. You got the thin area pointing down, this pointing to the side, but it's a little longer so that it can accommodate this right over here. So again, facing down, facing across. Pull this up so that I can easily place it. And in you go. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. There we go. Tease it in there. And same thing here. Now this is the one that should go on this side. Okay. So we have these in place. Now we just have to find the ones on this. So I'm gonna, ones at the corner here. So now I'm gonna go across on this side here and see what's gonna fit into here. Now they're obviously gonna be thin pieces. And they're gonna be this guy over here. So long and thin so it can fit in with all of these. So move this out. Okay, now this one on the side here. Move this up and bring it in. Okay, while I'm at it, we do the other side. So this edge is facing down here. Move it in, just enough to slide it in here. Good. And same thing here. Move it up and move it in. Alright, so we have all of these. Now we just have to find a big old corner piece to come in through here. And I think what we have left over is going to be, and this looks like just the one for the job. We've got a groove down here to bury itself in here, and then we have a slot up here to come in and accept this guy here. But it's certainly this piece over here. There we go. Okay, so it does it eventually. Okay, next we'll do this one over here. And all these four corners are going to pretty much be the same. So this is going to slide into here. So I'll do the same thing. Take this out, lift this up. I suppose you could have put this in last. I just find it's harder to do that once all these pieces are in. This is matched up to here. This is matched up to here. And now let's see if we can cause some damage here. And you just sort of have to intuitively kind of feel your way to get the pressure in. Keep things kind of loose at first, and it'll work its way in. Not too much forcing. There we go. And bring it back down. Okay, now as I'm assembling this, as I'm putting this in, the stability is getting ever better. It's not this one. Is it this one? Yeah, with a little slot facing up. Okay, and there it is. Okay, so we have yet another layer.